Thanks a lot for joining us here on Kings of Cricket, the final day at Ahmedabad. I'm Shivani Gupta. Well, the Kangaroos have their tails up. India 240 all out in their 50 overs. We've all been talking about the mighty Indian batting lineup. Well, today they had their troubles. 240, many would reckon, is not a below par score, but it's just there and thereabouts. And against a rampaging Australian side who will have their tails up, it could be problematic for the Indian team. The Kangaroos, as we say, perform at the big stage. They manage to take wickets at regular intervals to keep the pressure on the Indian batsmen. India have managed to score 240 in their 50 overs. Rohit Sharma, once again, the star for the Indian batting lineup because he gave a superb start as usual, and but for his knock that came in lightning fast time, this could have been problems further for the Indian team. Shubman Gill, who has a fantastic record across formats in Ahmedabad, went down early. Virat Kohli and KL Rahul then tried to build a partnership. Both scored a half century, but as I said, the Australians managed to take wickets at regular intervals. Stark took 3. You had Hazelwood and Cummings taking 2 each. The match is not over yet. With this Indian bowling lineup, certainly the Indian team will have the belief that just as they've managed to stay unbeaten in this tournament so far, they can still manage to win this one in front of that 130,000 strong crowd in Ahmedabad. Let's introduce all of our guests joining us. 1983 World Cup winner Jimmy Amarnath is with me in the studios along with Murli Karthik, Ayaz Memon, Graham Swan joining us, Venkatesh Prasad. We also have a special guest, Navjot Singh Sidhu, former Indian cricketer, is joining us. Sherry Paji, is the score enough?
Well, 50 runs short. Looking at the state of the pitch, if you analyze the last 4 games, 280 has been the maximum in the last 4 matches. So, if you look at the whole situation, had you looked at getting to 260, you could have got 300, which would have been a sizable total. But I think this batting failure, and I mean it, because if you look at Rohit Sharma, you would say that he's done very well. But I think at that moment, that stroke was unnecessary. And he could have gone on, one out of Kohli or Rohit Sharma should have gone on to go and score 100. That would have really, made things easier for the Indian team. But then character is not made in a crisis. It's exhibited. Anybody can be pilot when the sea is calm. Now, this is the time, does the Indian bowling have the tenacity to claw out of this difficult situation and bail India out of trouble? Now, it's a big occasion, but this pitch is so deceptive. It's slow and it's keeping low. Now, this is something where the Australians are really vulnerable at. To me, the key is the new ball. If you can make the new ball count, get early wickets, well, there is still a possibility. Impossible is a word only in the dictionary of the fools. I still feel that India has a chance.
Jimmy Paji, what's your thought?
Hi Sherry, ki hal chal? Theek thak? Yes,
Jimmy Paji, peri pena.
No, I think, because you have 240 runs on the board, and I always believe when you have runs, you always have hopes. And I think very rightly Sherry said that this is the wicket, if you provide a good start, probably you can put the opposition under a lot of pressure. But looking at the Aussies mindset and the batting and the way they have bowled this 50 overs, I think they planned very well.
Yeah.
Because the field placement, the bowling changes, the breakthrough at the right time, it's all happened over there. But now they're looking up to this 240 target. So what I personally feel they're going to go, especially Travis Head, is the guy who India has to watch out. Because the line the Indian bowlers bowl, that is his strength. Because it's a left-hander ball going away, because this is the area where he likes to play. But still, I think you have to, don't give it up. I'm sure they won't. And they have to keep trying, and you have to take wickets to win this game.
Pat Cummins, Murli Karthik had said, there's nothing quite like in sport when a big crowd goes silent. And when he got that Virat Kohli wicket, it was actually pin drop silence in that stadium. And how beautiful has he been? I mean, nothing to take away from Stark and Hazelwood either.
Even before that, even when those 2 quick wickets fell, yes, obviously there was a bit of hope when KL and Virat were batting, because again you take your memory back to the first game, 2 for 3, and then the same pair took India out of trouble and to victory. So people had those hopes high, but you can make out. The only way to silence an Indian crowd, and that to 130,000 strong crowd, is when India is on the mat, and that is exactly what happened. But great credit to the way they bowled, the way they executed most things. Even when they got off to a start with Rohit Sharma hammering Josh Hazlewood, for Pat Cummins to throw the ball back to the same bowler who had been hit for runs in 2 overs showed that he had that confidence, and they never wilted under pressure. They never wilted when India was taking charge. They still kept
They
clawing
knew that's
back.
exactly how it will go.
And for them, they got wickets at the right time. So hats off. Look, they have that funny knack. I told you that instance where they only think of positives. Think of the times where they have not been given any chance and they have bounced back right from the second or the third game of this very tournament. It didn't look like that Australian side. You think of a Maxwell innings, they come back. Even in that high pressure game, they still clawed their way back against South Africa. So they are
This
a
is why we
dangerous
were
side.
wary. This is why we were wary, Ayaz. But you know what Cummins did so beautifully well was marshal his resources today. Yes, all of his bowlers were looking better today than they have, let's say, collectively in the tournament. But he never let the Indian batsmen settle down. You know, every few overs there was a change in the bowling, and all of their bowlers were collectively bowling pretty well together.
Yeah, absolutely. First things first. Hello, Sherry. How are you doing? All well?
Actually, Sherry को बोलना चाहिए Pinkity Poo से salam, Pinkity Poo से salam.
Bright as a button, active as quicksilver.
Just, you know, I mean, Cummins, I thought marshaled his resources beautifully.
Excellently.
And the entire team, the fielding, the ground fielding, you saw it in the
Amazing.
first few overs. And then every final you see, even in 1983, I have, you know, 241 is a far sight more than 183, which Jimmy Paul and the others defended at Lords in 1983.
Yes.
But most of these finals depend on moments of magic. Travis Head's catch of
Yes,
Rohit Sharma.
beautiful.
Palwinder Singh Sandhu's delivery in 1983 to dismiss Greenwich. Kapil Dev's catch. If you produce moments of magic like that in this match, then you have a very good chance still. 241. Given the nature of the pitch, it's slow, it's not so easy to bat on. You just can't go there and start bang bang. Rohit in that form could do it for a while, not beyond that, as Sherry pointed out. So
yeah, possibly one shot too many. He already had a 6 and a 4 in that over.
Correct.
Maybe could have just held on, which is something I touched
There
upon
is one
a couple of
nemesis.
matches ago.
The only nemesis India don't want is something liquid, and it's called dew.
Sherry Paji, keep coming in when you want. I'm just going to go across to our rest of our panel as well. Venki and Graham Swan waiting. Venki, you were talking about how fielding is going to be top-notch in this match. Australia showed that today. Quite a bit of difference
Absolutely.
they've made, saving a lot of boundaries today.
Oh, absolutely. The ground fielding, the catching was top-notch, I should say. And what a catch from Travis Head to dismiss Rohit Sharma. I think that was one hell of a catch, running backwards and literally diving and taking catch to convert. See, these are the things that is needed even in the second innings as well. Having said that, I also said it was not a bad decision to field because it doesn't come on to the bat, and that's exactly what happened. It was not that easy. Till Rohit Sharma was there, of course, he was looking at very, making it look extremely easy. But it was not that easy to bat on. The ball was not coming on. So that's one of the reasons why the batters had to, take the time. And yes, I do agree with the panel when they say that they were, say, about 30-40 runs short. Yes, definitely 30 runs short for sure. Again, I've been saying that I think the game is in the second innings. So now you've got a score on board. 240 is the score that you have to defend. And now how you're going to bowl, how you're going to field. So it all boils down to their form, their rhythm, all just with Bumrah, Siraj and Shami. And the only way to stop this Australian is by taking wickets and, of course, converting those half chances, whether it's point or at slip or, and so on. I think so the fielders need to back your bowlers. That's the whole point here.
Graham, we were all wondering, I spoke to you before the match and I asked you exactly this. A lot of Indian fans are very nervous of when that dip of the Indian performance is going to come. A lot of people were surprised. Pat Cummins won the toss, elected to, send India to bat first, and the batting did, I wouldn't say crumble, but if this is the worst that they've had in this tournament, they'll still take it because it's not like they've completely been blasted away. But certainly when the top 4 didn't fire or they couldn't continue or accelerate when they wanted to, like KL Rahul got stuck in, for example, he couldn't quite change gears once Virat Kohli lost his wicket. The rest couldn't quite come to the party. Neither Jadeja nor Sky.
I'm sensing a lot of nerves from you Indian guys at the minute, and I'm here to tell you, just calm down. Chill. You're in a good position here. You've got 240 runs in a massive final. Those runs are on the board. This wicket is a very, very tricky wicket to bat on. When a batting lineup like India's cannot, and they struggled to 240, let's face it, in the end. This is almost exactly the same as when India played England during the tournament. And I remember that, of course I do.
Yes.
Because I sat there at the halfway point, rubbing my hands, saying, no problem, England will chase this down because we've got the batsmen who don't care about slow wickets or go out and whack it. Australia will think the same. This is a massive total to chase in a final on a slow pitch. And I don't think Australia will do it. They don't bat well on slow pitches. They batted very badly against South Africa on a slow pitch, Eden Gardens, in the semi-final, just crept over the line. They're going to go for it from the start. They're going to be very aggressive. And so it is all about the first 10. The new ball, whether you can pick up 2 wickets in that power play, I would back the Indian bowlers every day of the week. So I'm here from Mother England to say, everybody chill. You're in a very strong position still.
Thank you. Thank you for that vote of confidence. A lot of us wanted that. Yes.
And I think he makes a valid point, and that's where I think possibly India will have to rejig their bowling lineup. With Bumrah, I would rather have someone like a Mohammad Shami start because he's
I've
used to...
been saying this for 3 matches.
More so today. You can understand why they give it to somebody like a Siraj.
Yeah.
But today he's used to bowling there. He knows exactly what happens. And for someone like Travis Head, you need someone like Shami early on. So maybe Shami and Bumrah to start off rather than Siraj.
Jaipaji, what do you think? I mean, the pitch does have enough, and the Indian bowlers would also be relishing the opportunity to go at the Aussie batting on this one. I feel that it's not just the first 10 overs. I mean, you look at Ravindra Jadeja, you look at Kuldeep Yadav, they also would be very keen to get their hands on this bowling pitch.
Look, the weakness of the opposition makes your strength. The Australians will always like the ball coming on. They like the ball to bounce and play those horizontal bat shots. Now, this is exactly the opposite. This is a very difficult, and I agree when people say that this is not a massive total, but a reasonable total, 240. And when you've defended 220 against England and won by 100 odd runs, ask Jimmy Paji. Funny things have happened in cricket. I mean, in Sharjah, India defended 125 with Kapil Dev, Jimmy Pa. And what happened in the World Cup finals? Now, this pitch will test the Australians to the fore. And when the ball comes low and slow, holds on, it's the most important thing is that you go for the jugular. There are 2 strategies. One is to contain the opposition and take wickets. Other is to play test match format cricket, where you're just going for the jugular, going for the wickets. I would prefer India going for those wickets. I mean, forget about a Warner or somebody else going in the first 5 overs. If they're going to go for the bowling in the first 5 overs, they're more susceptible. They will give you wickets if you want them. And if you're not, you see, the fear of failure should not overtake. I mean, we are short 40 odd runs. But let me tell you, India is in it, 50-50, even Stevens.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know, this is exactly what Australia's strategy also was, Jimmy Pa, because they knew that Rohit will come. Rohit will go for that blitzkrieg that he's been doing at the top of the order, but they did not let their tempo down against him. There were a few chances that were going and giving that he wanted to come and bat. You know, they managed to kind of not get scared of that he will, you know, hit you for a few 6s and 4s, which he did, and continue to come at it. This is what India would need too. Not to get afraid if Warner and Travis Head have a good start.
Yes, see, when you don't have a big total on the board, so you have no options over here. You have to go for the kill. And I think very rightly Sherry said that you have to take wickets. That means
there's no other way you can do it.
No other way you can contain them.
Yeah.
And this is one wicket. I think initially it may go in favor of batsmen, the first 10 overs, although the swing will be there and all that, but it will come nicely onto the bat after the first roll. And that means for 1 hour probably will play much truer than what you think.
Okay.
And then I personally feel spinners should come into the party early in this
even
game.
Pat Cummins brought in Glenn Maxwell very early today.
In this actually, because I think Jadeja is the key over here. And before the dew comes or it doesn't come, we don't know actually. So that's how you have to keep a slip fielder or some fielder close to the bat so you can pick up wicket. And with Aussie, I think once they lose wicket, they don't change their minds. They still go for shots. And there you can pick wickets. So you have to have close-in fielder in this game to win the match.
You know, I think maybe if they lose an early wicket, Graham, you've got Steve Smith. And I think he will try to hold one end, do what possibly Virat Kohli is expected to do, and others will still go for it. That would be the strategy for them. Because if, like India, the Aussie batsmen also get stuck in, then they will be in for trouble too. They will also have to ensure they keep going at least one of the Indian bowlers.
Absolutely, and this wicket is so hard to actually score on if the bowlers are bowling straight and taking pace off the ball throughout the middle period. I absolutely agree with the rest of the panel. It will come on. It is good for batting in the first 8 or 9 overs. The Indians cannot lose any confidence if Australia do get off to a fairly good start. Look, India had 89 in the first 11 overs. And as soon as that wicket fell, yes, they'd lost 3 wickets, but as soon as those wickets fell, look how difficult it became for 2 of the best batsmen in the world, KL Rahul and Virat Kohli, to score freely. They're more talented than the Australian middle order, trust me. The Australian middle order have got to fend with the Indian bowlers who are better than the Australian bowlers. I think 240, you're more than a 50-50 chance here. I'm still back India to win this game. I just don't think Australia have got the batting in the middle order to see this through. If one of the top order players gets a ton, gets 150, fair enough. They've had this game of their lives. But you get into that Australian middle order, I don't think they're in good enough form and they've got good enough technique on a slow pitch to chase down 240.
So you're saying 51-49 India?
No, I'm saying 60-40 India.
Good one. So Cherry Paji, before I let you go, I want to ask you, as after what you've seen in the first innings, who's the person to watch out for you from both sides?
Well, for me, the new ball has to be counted. You've got to make the new ball count. If you can take early wickets, then you ease the spinners into a situation where they can dominate. But if you let go in the first 5-10 overs and they get to a flying start, which they're capable of, then it's going to make things very difficult for you. Not very difficult, but then, you're not going to come back very quickly. So, for me, early wickets is going to be doomsday for the Australians. And if they survive and get to 50-60, then even singles, ones and twos, it just eases the nerves. For me, the key is ease the spinners into a situation where they're 30 for 3 or 40 or 2-3 wickets down.
Well, that will be a dream start for India with the 30 for 3 hours.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think, again, Travis Head and David Warner are the key factor here. As Jimmy Pa said, 9-10 overs, if the ball is hard, when we start, if they get off to a flyer, 60-70 runs in the power play,
it could be very difficult.
Then because you don't have much of a buffer, the margin of error for India is less. But I also take Sherry's point, what Swanee has been saying, that the spinners could be really problematic for these batsmen, provided they get into a situation where you're not facing a score of 80 for no loss.
Yeah.
Then it's very difficult for them also.
No, but Karthik, we'll be talking about the dew factor. So, for the benefit of our viewers, how difficult could it get if there was some moderate dew, for example, for the Indian bowlers? And would that also make a difference, Jimmy Paji? Does the dew make a difference for the pitch as well? Does it make a difference of how easy or difficult it is for the ball to come on?
Yeah, I think it does actually, definitely. Especially, I think if it's difficult for spinners. And it helps the batter because the ball skates and come better nicely onto the bat.
Which the Aussies might prefer, actually.
Yeah, they would prefer if the dew comes early. And but as we're talking, I think the start is the key over here. And I think the guy like Bumrah should try to test ahead, especially with short balls, because he's not a great puller or hooker of the ball. But he's a good front foot player and he likes certain area where he likes to go and play shots. So it's not that the game is over. I think still 50-50, anything can happen. And as Sherry's also mentioned, that early wickets will make all the difference. So this is the key in this 50 overs cricket, because you have to use 5 bowlers. And the 3 first pace bowlers have to come and join the party over here.
It just struck me. I've got Jimmy Paji with me. I've got Sherry Paji with me. Why don't we have some shairi between the two of you? Sherry Paji, up for it? Something to cheer up the Indian mindset?
The chips are down. Well, what I said was that character is not made in a crisis. It is exhibited. So the shairi will be सुरखरू होता है इंसान आफतें आने के बाद और रंग लाती है हिना पत्थर पे घिस जाने।
क्या बात है, वाह।
वाह वाह वाह।
ओके जी शहरी, जिंदगी के उदास लम्हों में बेवफा दोस्त अक्सर याद आते।
अरे वाह सर, हिम्मत मतदार, हिम्मत कर हिंदुस्तान, हिंदुस्तान कर। मतलब 140 करोड़ लोग दुआ कर रहे हैं। क्या दुआ कर रहे हैं? लो पाजी दहले तो दहला।
बिल्कुल जी।
आपकी हस्ती का कुछ ऐसा नजारा हो जाए, तूफान भी उतारे मौजों पे, तूफान ही किनारा हो जाए। लो पाजी ठोको ताड़ी।
No, this is why we were saying, Venki, it's one thing to be in a final and win it. It's quite another to beat an Australian side and win it. And as we were saying, Australia is dangerous. They've shown it today in the first half of the match. If India was to, bring that character that they've been talking about, bring that, confidence, they can still do it. And it would be, as they say, cherry on top or cherry on top of a great campaign if they were to do it like this.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. They have done it before and they can do it again. They could be 20, 30, 40 run short. So be it. I mean, anyway, the score is now 240. That's exactly what they are defending. So obviously they have to bring in their A game and they have to bring in what they've been doing, all this while the last 10 matches. And you can definitely see Bumrah and Shami definitely using those angles. They might start off with over the stump for the left-handers, both David Warner and Travis Head. But they will definitely come round the stump and take the ball out. I mean, Shami, if you have seen, it's incoming delivery for a left-hand batter. But he has developed the skill of taking the ball out, bowling round the stump, which is extremely difficult skill. And I'm sure if he does that again, he'll definitely trouble the left-handers and Bumrah as well. I mean, bowling round the stump, you feel the ball is coming back into you, but then his natural bowling is to take the ball out for the left-handers. So I think they will be definitely tested. But one thing is for sure that if there is a bit of dew, yes, it is. That's that much more or slightly more easier to bat on, especially in the new ball.
Yes, absolutely. Let me just quickly go across to my colleague Yash, who's also joining us from Ahmedabad. Yash, there has of course been a sea of blue there. What's the mood like at the stadium where you are?
Well, Shivani, there is a little bit of disappointment amongst the fan. In fact, we have some of the people who just stepped out after watching the match and some fans who are enjoying the match outside the stadium. First of all, क्या लगता है आपको कैसी खेली इंडिया ने पारी? थोड़ा सा स्लिपरी स्लोप था, लेकिन कैसा?
थोड़ा सा स्लो गेम खेला है, थोड़ा सा स्कोर कम रहा है, जिस तरह की उम्मीद थी 300 रन मारेंगे, बट ऐसे अहमदाबाद में मैच है और जिस तरह का ग्राउंड बड़ा है और इंडिया की जैसी बॉलिंग रही है इस पूरे टूर्नामेंट में, तो मेरे हिसाब से 240 भी खराब स्कोर नहीं है। और अभी तो अपने पास सामी बुमराह और सिराज की मैजिकल स्पेल बाकी है। इंडिया इसी मैदान से वर्ल्ड कप जीत के बाहर आएगा।
See, Shivani, people are quite optimistic about Indian bowling lineup because they feel that in the past matches the batsmen and the bowlers have done enough, but this time around with this sort of a score, now the onus is on the bowlers. Sir, क्या लगता है अभी भी मैच इंडिया के हाथ में है या नहीं? आपको क्या लगता है?
डेफिनेटली मैं अंदर देख के आया, लेकिन इंडिया का बॉलिंग अटैक बहुत अच्छा है। ठीक है, मोहम्मद शमी, सिराज, बुमराह, जिनका जो स्पेल पड़ेगा, जाडेजा, कुलदीप यादव, ये फिनिश ही कर देंगे। श्रीलंका को कोई 50 में निपटा दिया था और ऑस्ट्रेलिया को भी हरा के इंडिया वर्ल्ड कप 2011 के बाद जीत के ही बाहर निकलेगा। इंडिया।
Okay, the players are out on the field. Yash, I'm just going to quickly go across our panel and take some final comments as well. We'll keep coming right back to you, and hopefully the Ahmedabad crowd is going to be a little bit more joyous, jumping on top of you when we come back after the second innings. Ayaz, your thoughts, final thoughts, a few minutes left.
Final thoughts, 1983 at the break, the great Richie Benaud says 65 for one, or whatever it was, the odds he offered, India can't win. India went on to win. So, runs on the board.
Jimmy Baji, the spirit of 1983 is alive and kicking.
40 years back.
I would be the happiest man if India wins this one, because although it's 50-50 at the moment, but they have the runs on the board, and they have the bowlers, and they have a captain as well over there.
You were the man of the match of the 1983 final. Who's the man of the match for you from India today?
I think there are a lot of guys over, but I think Jadeja will be the key.
Yes. Swani, of course, you will agree with Jimmy Paji there because you've been wanting him to do well. He couldn't quite do it with the bats today, mind you. He got an opportunity, chances with the ball.
Yeah, he's going to absolutely rip through that Aussie middle order. Jadeja 6 for India win by 40 runs. You heard it here first.
All right, Kartik, final thoughts. You were supposed to talk about the dew factor also very quickly.
No, I did want to see, it makes it very easy because when it cools down, then everything settles down. So the spin which you expect on a same surface which was dry and difficult to score off suddenly becomes easy. Everything starts coming on. And for the bowler too, whether it's a seamer or they hardly get anything off the surface or in the air and a spinner can't grip. So that's one of the reasons why it becomes very, very easy with the dew. But that is what we have in front of us. That's the challenge. Just like Australia fielded, I think India will have to make the score feel like 270, 280 with the lines they bowl, because that's what they have. That's exactly what you have to play with. And if you're a champion side and if you want to be a champion side, you need to showcase something when it's required the most, and that is the final.
Chips could be down. Well, David Warner and Travis Head have assembled at the pitch. So it's time for me to take your leave. Sherry Paji, many thanks for your time. And it's good to see you doing some nice cricket commentary with our expert panel as well once again. Brings back some memories. Venki, Graham, and of course the panel with me in the studio. All the guests, thanks a lot for joining us. We'll be back, of course, post-match. So keep joining us here on CNN News 18. Some more fan voices with you. Thanks a lot for watching.
So, are you supporting India by any chance?
I'm having a bet each way, but I'm definitely supporting Australia.
Yes,
But you cannot call it right now going into the second innings.
Yeah, I'm sure. So, have you watched the first innings?
Yeah, a little lot of off and on. I've been in my office trying to prepare the way for this very high-level visit. So, I mean, just like the cricket, our diplomacy is going at a very fast pace, and so we are doing a lot of work.
Yeah. So, how is the vibe here at High Commission? Because behind me you could see there's a screening that has been arranged by High Commission. All these diplomats and the guests have been invited to be a part of this screening for World Cup finals. And in fact, the diplomats have other work also, and their schedule is hectic because they are also preparing for 2+2. Sarah, how are you guys managing your schedule and timings? Because I can see there's a lot of rush. Diplomats are rushing to their offices, then they are coming back. They are coming to watch what's happening in the match, and then they are going back.
Well, I think the secret to it is just no sleep.
Okay.
And a lot of energy. Like, energy is pushing us all through because the atmosphere is just electric. I mean, I've had a call from my colleague who's down in Ahmedabad at the stadium, and we could barely talk because there was just so much noise, and she was so ecstatic. And our Deputy Prime Minister is just having the time of his life. Pat Cummins went into the match saying this is a once-in-a-lifetime match. So it's something special.
Okay. We'll take the